Good morning, I'm Gary DeWaal, and this is Bridging the Week for September 19th to 23rd, and today is September 26, 2016. Last week, a Futures Commission merchant and its Chief Executive and Chief Risk Officers were sued by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission for their alleged failure to adequately respond to 3 exchanges inquiries related to a customer's reporting spoofing activities, as well as the firm's failure to follow its own risk management policies, while a Russia-based bank and its UK subsidiary were charged by the CFTC with engaging in illicit block trades because the block trades' prices were purportedly not fair and reasonable. However, the prices of the block trades were mostly chosen at the midpoint of the prevailing bid and ask spread of the corresponding swaps contract at a time when the relevant futures market was apparently illiquid. Huh? Tonight is the first debate between U.S. presidential candidates Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. So I can be sure to watch it in its entirety. Let's get started. Advantage Futures LLC, Joseph Guinan, its majority owner and chief executive officer, and William Steele, who until May 2016 was Advantage's chief risk officer, settled charges brought by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission related to the firm's handling of the trading account of one customer in response to 3 exchanges warnings and to its alleged failure to follow the firm's own risk management and credit risk practices. The defendants agreed to pay a fine of $1.5 million to resolve the CFTC enforcement action. According to the CFTC, between June 2012 and April 2013, 3 exchanges alerted Advantage to concerns they had regarding the trading of one unspecified customer's account, which they considered might constitute disorderly trading, spoofing, and manipulative behavior in violation of the exchange's relevant rules. The CFTC claimed that, initially, Advantage failed, quote, to adequately respond to the exchange's inquiries and did not conduct a meaningful inquiry into the suspicious trading, end of quote. Among other things, said the CFTC, no person at Advantage talked to the relevant trader regarding the identified activity. Only after the 3 exchanges threatened to hold Advantage responsible for the trader's conduct did Advantage cut off the trader's access to their trading facilities, observed the CFTC. However, noted the CFTC, Advantage failed to augment its oversight of the trader's remaining trading or control his access to other exchanges, quote, despite knowing that he employed the same strategy across all markets, end of quote. In addition, charged the CFTC, Advantage did not follow its risk management and credit policies. Among other failures, said the CFTC, Advantage did not follow its risk management policies adopted pursuant to CFTC requirements regarding use of risk ratings, the account opening process, and the implementation review of risk tolerance levels. Also claimed the CFTC, Advantage did not establish risk-based limits for each customer as required based on position size, order, margin requirement, or similar factors. Practically, observed the CFTC, Advantage relied on position limits for its risk-based pre-control limits, which it said was, quote, an inadequate risk-based control method, end of quote, for day trader customers. JSC via TB Bank, a Russia-based bank, and VTB Capital plc, a UK-based bank that is ultimately 94% owned by VTB, were sued by the CFTC for engaging in block trades with each other, contrary to CME Group rules, in that prices of the block trades were not quote-unquote fair and reasonable. According to the CFTC, between December 2010 and June 2013, the 2 companies engaged in more than 100 block trades involving CME Group's Russian ruble US dollar futures contracts. The CFTC alleged that the companies engaged in these transactions to transfer certain Russian ruble US dollar risk from VTB to VTB Capital. However, in doing so, said the CFTC, the defendants chose a price of block trades that quote-unquote typically reflected the midpoint between the prevailing bid-ask spread of the over-the-counter Russian ruble US dollar swap. The defendants did not seek other block trade prices from other counterparties, alleged the CFTC. As a result, said the CFTC, the price chosen by the defendants was not a fair and reasonable price as required by CME Group rules, and thus the block trades were unlawful non-competitive trades under CFTC rule. To resolve the CFTC's complaint, defendants agreed to pay a fine of $5 million and to institute or enhance procedures to avoid non-competitive transactions. The CME Group self-certified amendments to its rules and guidance related to exchange for related position transactions that, among other things, make clear that firms executing or clearing EFRPs must exercise quote-unquote due diligence to identify situations where a customer's EFRP transaction may be quote-unquote non-bona fide and permit EFRPs to contain multiple exchange components that may not have the same market bias. CME amendments also permit any third party, not just members, to facilitate as principal the related position component of EFRP, make clear that the related position associated with an exchange-traded option for an option transaction must be an over-the-counter option, and authorize commodity trading advisors, account controllers, or other persons acting on behalf of another person not to have to pass along to an ultimate customer the initiating and offsetting foreign currency leg of an offsetting foreign currency EFRP. In connection with EFRPs involving equity index contracts, CME Group eliminated the requirement that the related position component have a historical correlation to the index of 90% or greater, and replaced it with a requirement that related position stock baskets simply be quote-unquote highly correlated to the index without referencing a specific percentage. Absent objection by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CME Group's new rule and guidance will be effective October 4th. And finally, the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System proposed a sweeping new rule to severely limit the physical commodity activities of financial holding companies. Principally, the FRB proposed new requirements that would materially increase financial holding companies' risk-based capital requirements applicable to physical commodities, impose a consolidated organization-wide 5% cap on the total value of commodities a financial holding company may hold in its Tier 1 capital, and eliminated copper as an approved precious metal that bank holding companies are permitted to own and store. The Federal Reserve also proposed to require financial holding companies to report more detailed information regarding their physical commodity activities. The Federal Reserve claimed that the new rule was necessitated because of the, quote, potential environmental catastrophe and other risks associated with physical commodity activities of FHCs, end of quote. Well, that's it for this week's edition. Oh, the FRB will accept comments on its new proposal through December 22nd. Well, that's it for this week's edition of Bridging the Week. As always, there's more information in each article and more articles on the article version of Bridging the Week on the website. Check it out. I'm Gary DeWaal. Have a great week, and until the next edition of Bridging the Week, ciao.